Yes, yeah.
I think that this is the last of the series in this annexure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, if I may continue then, the message that he had sent, which I said earlier, the minister is briefed, he has just arrived in Lusikisiki. The minister on the day was visiting the incident that happened in Lusikisiki where many people were killed. So this was just another confirmation that this man knows exactly about the minister's movement. So he's either with him or he's informed about the minister's movement. That's why he can write messages like this. This was again to confirm that I have to trust that he's a person who's close to the minister. And when he responded to the message I sent him earlier of what did Khumalo say about me, his response was, Jen, which means general in abbreviation, Jen, this must be in your chest. So which means he wanted me to keep this secret. And I'm wondering now, why is he telling me if he doesn't want this thing to go public? And then my response, of course, because I wanted him to get me information, I said, trust me on this one. And then he wrote a message, which followed at the bottom of 318, which reads, I'm going to read it on the record. You are having your interest, and that maybe you are having your own cartel. You don't listen to the CI, that is crime intelligence. Then Masimula intercepted him. So, which means General Masimula was in that meeting as well. Also spoke about your provincial crime intelligence member. Remember, he is retiring. I think there's message missing there. He's retiring next month. And if we move to 319.
Can you please, in your own words, explain what the first part of this text means, starting from you are having right up to intercepted him? It's rather cryptic.
At the time, my understanding is that he's telling me that what was discussed in the meeting, which he sent me a screenshot on, the one that talks about crime intelligence policies, they were discussing me, about me not wanting to cooperate and working well with the head of crime intelligence in KZN. So that was my conclusion, that he was saying that I don't want to cooperate with them on information that they are giving me. I don't want to operationalize such an information. And that's why he even knows that the head of crime intelligence in KZN is going on retirement. So this is a person who knows everything about the police, even knows when is a person retiring.
Thank you. You may continue.
Yeah. So and then the following message on the next page, 319, I then asked him that please get me that presentation if there is one to confirm or otherwise if there is any recordings. Because I wanted to get the proof that what was this presentation about that he has access to that I don't know. The response from him, what made me start connecting the dots. Remember we spoke about investigation and pictures starting to emerge. His response was nothing. General Khan will brief you next week. Now, Commissioner, I want to put on the record that I only know one General Khan within crime intelligence. He's a Major General Khan that was on the news not long ago. Some of the colleagues will know about the attendance of the EFF celebration last year, as well as the case that was alleged that Khan was involved in stopping the police when they were busy with the drug operation at Eratin in Johannesburg. When he sent me this, I then concluded that means General Khan is in that meeting. It is General Khan most likely that is feeding him with the information. That was my conclusion. Why would he choose General Khan to brief me if I ask for a presentation? But again, I don't have proof of it. It is him that is writing this message. But I guess with the investigation, we're going to see linkages about all these people within the police. And my response was, sure. And then he sent another one to say back in Joburg, and after that followed by phone calls, and there's many other communication that followed thereafter. I don't have to read all of them, Commissioners, as you can see that are following on those attachments. And as I said, Gerald Khan has been on the news. He's a component head within crime intelligence. Gerald Khan, when he sends me this message, Gerald Khan was appointed, his post that he's occupying as a component head at crime intelligence is an operational intelligence support within crime intelligence. But he was appointed acting as a component head of counter and security intelligence. When Khumalo arrived at crime intelligence, that was a position that Gerald Khan was acting on. So Khumalo, I understand, he had moved him back into his old position. Counterintelligence, if I can indicate, Commissioner, is that the vetting is done at counterintelligence. Majority of operations like this drug cartel operation that is holding counterintelligence investigation, it's conducted in that office. So meaning it's a person who, it's an office that really is in the heart of intelligence operations. Gerald Khan was acting there. Gerald Khan has since been moved back into his technical support. I'm not saying that Gerald Khan is involved in these leakages of information to the members of parliament and to the other people, but what is interesting is that almost everything that we see happening in parliament, in the media, comes from that component of crime intelligence. And this is where the real fight comes from. The operation of Gauteng counterintelligence that involves this drug cartel is in that component. So, and this is Mkhwanazi that introduces Khan to me. I said, Commissioners, I'm going to reflect to what happened in 2011, late on my statements. Crime intelligence, modus operandi back then, and players that were involved back then with the looting on the money and irregularities, they still exist at crime intelligence today, and some of them are occupying high position. So there has no reforms that has been implemented at crime intelligence. That's why it's no surprise when you start seeing things coming out. Like I said on record, I did not say that Gerald Khan has leaked any information. It is Mkhwanazi that introduces Khan. I only know of one Khan at crime intelligence. So perhaps as we investigate further, we'll be able to see whether there's any leakages between these people. That information that supposed to be within the confines of those four walls where the meeting was taking place ended up with Mkhwanazi. Commissioners, as I've outlined a lot of communications here with Mkhwanazi, if I can move faster, if you allow me, SC, on my statement, because I think a lot of things that we have spoken about here. Later in the year, which I suppose maybe this is why Mkhwanazi is coming to me with this, is that first General Cele calls me, he's a former minister, he calls me and he says the Premier of Gauteng have approached him to go and work in Gauteng to help him fight crime in Gauteng. Therefore, he needs General Khumalo, who's a district commissioner and ex-task force commander in KZN, to come and work with him in Gauteng. And I find it strange because I think he called 2 or 3 times. While I was in a meeting, I kept giving the phone to one brigadier who was with me in the meeting. And after that, I had a conversation with Gerald Cele, and then he pleaded with me to release this general to come to Gauteng. And my surprise was, but when Gerald Cele was in the police, he did not like that general, Khumalo. He didn't like him at all. So why now that he's out of the police, he trusted Khumalo to come and work with him in Gauteng? It was just strange. And I turned to my colleague, Jaron Hua, who was with me in a meeting. This was in Durban. Jaron Hua works at the head office from HR. So I turned to her and said, but I received a strange call here. Gerald Cele is asking me to approach Khumalo, who's a district commissioner in Zululand, to come and work with him in Gauteng, meaning he must resign from the police and go and work in Gauteng with him for 5 years, then he'll come back into the police, which was very odd. And Gerald Hua was also confused. He said, but as far as I know, Cele didn't like Khumalo. And he made all of us at the head office to believe that Khumalo is a bad person. Why will he now suddenly want Khumalo to work with him? So it was just a strange call. I then contacted Gerald Khumalo. He's a major general. I phoned Gerald Khumalo. I said, Gerald Khumalo, this is a request I received from Gerald Cele. Jerome Khumalo just laughed and he said, well, don't worry, the general is not serious about that. So I asked him, what do you mean? He said, no, he's not serious. He wants me to back off on the case against Khan, General Khan from Crime Intelligence. So Cele is pursuing Khumalo to resign from the police so that he can stay away from the disciplinary case because he was appointed to deal with that case departmentally against General Khan. So Khumalo says, no, this is the approach of Cele to want me to back off. And that got me so upset, commissioners, that can really Gerald Cele go to the extent of wanting a person to resign from the service because he wants to protect someone? It was very strange. I did not talk to Gerald Cele from the day. I did not talk to him. I was very upset. It disappointed me as a person who's a former minister in the police. I was just upset. Fast forward, commissioners, the police have got two disciplinary processes. It's what's called expeditious, and the other one's a normal disciplinary process. Expeditious, you basically, in short, I could say, we're already saying to you, you are guilty of an offense. Come before a presiding officer to explain why you say you're not guilty, in a way. But in a normal process, the employer must present the allegations, and you have a chance to cross-examine witnesses and argue a case. And then you have a presiding officer that must decide. So the initial disciplinary procedure that was initiated for Gerald Khan on that interference with the drug in Johannesburg was that of a expeditious process. So Khumalo was then appointed as a person who's going to preside over that. And Major Gerald Khan approached the court granted, they overturned that and they say, no, we must go to a normal disciplinary hearing where he has a right to be represented and bring witnesses and question the witnesses and so forth. And therefore, there must be presiding officer appointed. Then Gerald Khumalo, the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, approached me and he asked me to be a presiding officer. I then agreed. Shortly after agreeing to be presiding officer, not long after that, I started getting this communication from Mr. Mkhwanazi. But at that time, I'm not understanding as to what this communication, what is the background of this communication. But he started communicating these things to me. That's why he throws Gerald Khan's name in it. And later, I think, I cannot remember exact date, I think it will have been the beginning of the year, I received an inquiry. Actually, I received a phone call from the very same journalist, Mzilazo Africa. His call was, you remember the story I asked you about of what happened in Bangin? I said, yes. He said, but my colleague has just approached me, confronted me about that story and is asking him, why didn't he publish the story? And he said, no, but there was no story there. I listened to this thing and it just didn't make sense. Somebody is trying to peddle and frame Jerome Kwans for nothing, so I didn't publish this. And in his own words to me, Mzilazo Africa was, this colleague of his says to him, now I'm forced to publish the story. And Mzilazo found it strange, so he called me first. He said, hey, who did you upset somewhere in the police? Then I said, no, I don't know anything. They said, but is anything happening in the police that will lead people to want to publish this thing that is a year later? So old, they'd want to publish. Then I said, well, the only thing I know is that I'm going to be presiding over a disciplinary case. So he asked me, whose disciplinary case is that? I told him it's for Gerald Khan. He said, oh, no, now I connect the dots. Because my colleague and Gerald Khan are close. It could be coming from there. That is his words. Mzilikazi will come here and say that. But I told him that I'm going to talk about this. He said, no, if he's called here, he will come and talk about it. I know who the colleague is. I'm not going to say it in public. He will perhaps, if you want to divulge that, he will. That's why I'm saying there are players within the media houses that are part of. So shortly after that, I received a message from the very same colleague of Mzilikazi. He sent me a question about the same incident. I gave him a full explanation as I did here to Bran Mkhwanazi. A full explanation. A logic journalist would have understood and said, okay, well, this is just a malicious thing, and don't publish that. But that finds itself to the newspaper on a Sunday. Commissioners, It is fair. That's why I like the investigative journalists. I think they're credible because they investigate first before they talk. I like the ones on TV behind cameras because they give it as is. The others that will just get information from others and write it becomes question marks, which what happened to this one.
And which Sunday publication was that?
I know the name of the journalist. I cannot remember exactly the Sunday, the paper. I don't want to, I might end up being sued if I mention the wrong name here. But I know the name of the journalist, so I can give you the name of the journalist.
You said you are not divulging it.
Yeah,
Right,
I'll give you the name of the journalist, you'll write, and you'll see the trend throughout, up to now. It's the same journalist that is part of the squad. Well, there are others that are linked with him, but he's the main one. So the story goes out, Commissioners, to the newspaper. It's an allegation that was made by Mkhwanazi that someone wants to open a case against me. Now, in the newspaper is my full picture there, and the big heading, allegations against Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi defeating, and they write a story of what happened. They, of course, write my response. So, but the problem is, it is my face there, not the complainant. It's my face that is there. The heading creates question marks about my integrity as a person, as a senior officer in the province. They put my full response on the paper. So a person who reads the paper will get to understand the context of this heading and the story. They will be fine with it. But for you to get into a newspaper, must subscribe, must pay money. Some of us don't necessarily subscribe to papers. But there is social media that is free. Now, on the social media, they take the heading because you are limited on what you write in there. They take the heading of allegations that Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is accused of defeating end of justice against a drug dealer at Kalagabusha. And that goes into their media account, social media account. And that which spreads like wildfire because people access it easy. Remember, they don't have a privilege of reading the full report that is on the paper. They are just taking it from this headline. And the picture is painted. The Mkhwanazi is a bad person. And they're achieving what they want. So I took it as a pressure for me to back off from the case that I was going to preside over of Nhlanhla Khan. How do I prove that? Is because Nhlanhla Khan's lawyers, they even wrote to me on emails and said, there's these things about you on the media, so we are in doubt of your independence in dealing with Khan. They wrote to me that, and that's what they said on email. So that's when I deducted that, oh, the pressure was for me to back off on this disciplinary case. So when Khumalo told me that they were wanting him to resign because they wanted him to back off on the case. So why will they go all out to try and get us to back off on the case against Nhlanhla Khan? I'm an independent person. Yes, I know Nhlanhla Khumalo is my colleague, but I'm not going to go and go with what Khumalo perhaps might want to do in dealing with Khan. Mine is to follow the policy and the law. And I could see that the whole idea was just, let's tarnish this man's image. And that's all. So that's what they did. They created the doubt. So fast forward, the disciplinary case comes, and I believe I was fair to Nhlanhla Khan. Despite the allegations that came from IPID, I still protected his rights. I allowed him to bring his lawyers in there. I sat and I listened to the evidence that was provided. The very same Nhlanhla Khumalo that was asked to resign was representing the employer. Nhlanhla Khan had his legal team, and there were witnesses that were brought to come and testify. I could not find a single wrong that Nhlanhla Khan has done. In actual fact, I even said there in my own words that the SAPS owes Nhlanhla Khan for what he did, because Nhlanhla Khan stopped police officers that came to collect drugs under the person who was the head of traffic Gauteng. They came to collect a consignment of drugs from the truck that arrived in Germiston, and they wanted to get drugs from there. And the people that are owning the truck company, they said, no, you're not going to take these drugs, search this truck from here, follow it to the final destination, which is in Eratin, which is a West Rand. So 2 police officers, 1 Johannesburg traffic, and 1 captain from Zongezizwe, they followed the truck. until it arrived at Eratin, and they were accompanied by members, 3 members from Pretoria, who traveled all the way there. 1 from organized crime, 2 from the dog unit. And they all said they were coming to search the truck. And they actually offloaded the consignment from the truck, which was drugs, in bags. They took this thing and they loaded in a police car. Luckily, the lady that worked in that company contacted 10111. 10111 called Boysen police station. Boysen vehicle came there, and then there was a conflict between the police when they discovered that these policemen who says they're running these operations, they're already removing this consignment from the truck, they're loading it in a police park. So this policeman asked, but this is a crime scene. Why are you taking this thing from here to here? If you're saying it's drugs, we have not even opened the bags. How do you know? If it is drugs indeed, why do you load them in the park? And this one said, no, we're taking them to Zongezizwe. And this one said, but this is Boysen area. Why do you take this thing to Zongezizwe? It's found here, it's a crime scene. Get LCRC and everyone to deal with it. Then there was a conflict between police at the time, and that police member who was present there took the vehicle, police vehicle, and he blocked this police car that was already loaded with drugs. He blocked it so that it doesn't move. And that's what allowed the other police officers to phone General Khan and say, there are members that claim to be from crime intelligence, they come and intervene. So he traveled all the way, arrived almost 2 hours later. And he put a stop from these drugs to be stolen. He phoned DPCI, he phoned the local provincial crime intelligence. They came and he took over the scene and he left. But it was then strange as to how do you blame Khan for that? Because he stopped the people that wanted to steal drugs. He stopped it. So he was in a good space at the time, so I couldn't fault him. But that, commissioners, doesn't take away the fact that Mkhwanazi says Khan will brief me about secret information that was discussed in the presentation. So while I'm having this belief that Khan has got to do with leaking of the information in there, perhaps according to Mkhwanazi, but on the disciplinary part where Khan was accused of drugs, he did not do anything wrong. So if I had that bad intention against Khan, I would have dismissed him. But I did not, because I gave him fair disciplinary hearing, of which you can ask him today, he will tell you, no, I treated him fair.
Now, in front of Parliament yesterday, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi said that he would fire the whole Department of Crime Intelligence, including Feroz Khan, because he says that whole department is dirty. I have heard similar things. I've been told that Crime Intelligence, they have files on all the journalists, all the podcasters. They know exactly how much money we have, if we owe money, if we pay our debt, things like that. They have files on all of us. And, you know, this is very scary. Someone told me that. And I've also read it in Jeff Wick's book that someone told him the same thing. So this is just where we are with crime intelligence. Now, crime intelligence has been a problem in South Africa for a long time. He also said yesterday that Khan used Brown Mkhwanazi to get close to the police minister. And we know those pictures have come out with Khan allegedly being at that same house that witness D's killer was at. It seems to be the house of that tobacco industry figure, Mr. Saeed. It seems to be, those are the allegations. It's not been proven. But there is a lot more to the story, because Shongwe has come out with accusations that were dealt with in Parliament. And I'm just going to clip them in right here.
Guess what happened? I got a call to come to Durban. Somebody wanted to see me. Those people went into the office to make an appointment to see me. I flew to Durban. And when I got there, General, Kufiga madoda amabili who are having a factory of cigarette in Maritzburg. You may know them. They take me to a security company, security office. Actually, they invite me to that office. Is it Morningside? Not far from Cubana. When I entered, they spoke to me and said to me, Shongwe, what is wrong? What did we do to you? Ufuna. My response, what are you talking about? That house has cameras outside and inside, General. As we are speaking, obviously, make promises. We'll look after you. Don't do this. And why? Speak to this guy. There's somebody who wants to speak to you. Who's that? There's somebody who wants to speak to you. Who is that? No, look at the phone. They're forcing me to take the call. They make a video call. On the video call is a person I don't know. It's my first time seeing that person, but I'm told this is General Khan. Now, my question is, the guy speaks until his eyes were red when he was speaking, as emotional as I am right now. He says, "You're suffocating me. Come see me Thursday in Joburg or Friday in Sandton. Let's talk. What's wrong?" Yes, on record, I don't see there's nothing wrong in that, because that's how we politicians get information. But what worries me is what these two families says to me. There's a family of Maja Janseka, who died, a makeup artist, who was shot in the head.
So Maya Yaneska was pictured with Feroz Khan in this picture that is circulating, this famous picture. And she was basically shot and she died. Now, we don't know if it was her doing it to herself or if someone else did it, but her boyfriend, Kyle Phillips, says he was brushing his teeth at the time, and he was brushing his teeth in the next room when he heard the shot after an argument with her. I mean, some people, they go have a shower, they go do other things, they go to gym to work off their emotions. This guy goes and brushes his teeth after having an argument. Now, what we also know is that Kyle Phillips is involved with Carney Links, that cigarette tobacco company that Mohammed Saeed co-founded. That's right. And what we also know is that this Kyle Phillips also helped Julius Malema pay his tax bill.
That family says this case, somebody worked on the case, and they allege it's General Kal who covered for this murder case. The second family is a family of Dr. Abdullahi Munshi.
This doctor, he was a anesthetologist, and guess what? He had a culpable homicide charge against him because he operated on Mohammed Saeed's son, and his son died. And next thing you know, this guy is shot and killed. Wow, this is scary.
Who was killed in an alleged road rage. A car bumped into that car behind. The doctor went out and he was shot. But on the street, it said that the father of the son who went to hospital and died on the hands of that doctor is the one claiming that he has killed that doctor for revenge. And again, General Khan's name comes out there and says, it's said to be, he's the one who is the protector. Now, General, it is alleged that us here in Parliament ad hoc, we won't see that person sitting where you are sitting because he claims he's protected. He claims all of us are taking something from whoever he says it to. I won't reveal my sources. I had left that thing. But when I was in that house, that prompted me, if this General Khan, if he is as true as he says he is, why is he not applying to come here and clarify his name? But instead he opts to call me and invite me into their office. Why? Now, Chair, it is important that, General, you rush this. What do you call it, James? Is it vetting, this process? Lifestyle audit.
Lifestyle audit, Honorable Chair.
This is what I want to know. General Khan law, business, nama 10, nama lo kunja, nama franchises. Why tata pima?